Hey, what's going on, guys? Gumby here. I'm back today with episode 4 of Division Talk. I'm covering in this episode just talking about the missions and the quests that I've experienced playing the beta. I didn't play the open beta this past weekend. It was actually my birthday. I was spending time with family and friends and doing other stuff and not really on my Xbox at all. But I also didn't want to play the game too much before it comes out in March 8th because it's only a couple weeks. I can wait a little bit longer to experience new stuff when the game's actually full and not during beta when I can experience. I could have experienced it then, but it would have just been repeat when the game fully comes out, and I want that fresh experience. So I'm going to be talking about the first mission, the Madison Square Garden. This is the medical branch mission from the closed beta when I played it. I didn't play. I know they released a second mission for the subway. I don't remember if it was the tech branch or the weapons one, but I didn't play it. I didn't want to play it. I want to have as much new experience as I can when the full game is released, like I said. So I'm just going to be talking about the first mission from the closed beta. I didn't play it again in the open beta. But basically, for this video, I'm not calling them the same experiences at all. I just want to use one to reference the other, just to give you something to think about in your head when I'm walking through these missions. And I'm going to compare them to Strikes in Destiny. I'm not saying that a mission in the Division is exactly the same as Destiny, and I'm not even really comparing the games. It's just the how the mission plays out just reminded me of a Strike in Destiny. So basically, with the Madison Square Garden mission, at least, you start the mission and you have an area where there are immediately baddies to fight, and you progress through this zone. And as you go, you learn a little bit more about the mission and the objectives of what you're going to be doing in this mission. For instance, in the Madison Square Garden one, there was a doctor, and about the middle of the mission that you needed to rescue from people in the gang. So you're fighting through enemies, and you get to this middle part of the mission, and there's some type of objective. In this case, it's freeing the doctor and protecting her. And I can compare this to something in a Destiny strike where you get to about middle way through the strike and there's a door that you have to open, and then you have to fight off waves of enemies as your ghost tries to open that door. That's the only real comparison that I could think of. Like I said, they're not exactly the same, but in this case, you do get to the doctor. You kill all the baddies that are holding her hostage and surrounding her, and then once you do that, you have to fight through waves of enemies. So it did give me some of that familiar feeling, and all of this leads up to a final baddie that you have to take down, and he has ads that are alongside him to back him up. Like I said, I didn't play the second mission, so I don't know if this is a pattern for all of them. If you did play both of them and you saw a pattern between the two, let me know. But for the first mission, I thought it was repeatable for sure. I ended up going back and playing hard mode with friends like 4 or 5 times in a row, and we all got pretty good loot. It was definitely, it felt like a grind, but it was still fun. It might have been because it's new, and we hadn't played it hundreds of times yet, but those 4 or 5 times in a row, we each got different loot from each other in that single instance, but then every time we went back, we never saw anything that was repeated. So that was fun because it is an RPG, so part of the aspect is the loot aspect. We also seemed to prove that there were multiple strategies that worked while playing each time we went back. So it wasn't just the same rinse and repeat. I'm going to stand here, you're going to stand here, and we're going to do this. You could play it that way, but we also did a little bit different. We would hold up in different areas, or one would push while the other one would defend. Maybe one would push with a shield and try to distract the enemies while people could shoot them from behind. There was a lot of different ways that we were able to approach this mission. I thought that was a pretty cool thing about this one in particularly. Like I said, you can play it, rinse and repeat, find the best tactic, and then just do that, but you could also change it up and still give it a little bit of a different feeling when you're going through this grind. The boss himself, he wasn't too difficult. He hit pretty hard with his machine gun, so you die really fast if you're out in the open, and he was definitely a bullet sponge. You had to use cover for your advantage for sure. I'm hoping for, besides just shooting him, letting his shield go down, and then eventually just burning him down with bullets and making sure you don't get hit a lot, I'm hoping that for future missions, there's some sort of level mechanics involved with boss fights. I don't know what it could be, since it's not a fantasy sci-fi type of environment, so you're not going to have lasers or like anything like that, but hopefully there's going to be some type of, you have to hit helicopter down in order for the boss to come out of a helicopter, and then you can have more of an opportunity to shoot at them or something. I don't know what it would be, but it would be cool to have some sort of level mechanic or strategy to fighting bosses rather than just shooting them until they die and make sure you don't die first. That will get old really, really fast. And for quests outside of missions, this game that I saw also has I call them message boards, and I saw them in both safe havens. So you had the dock safe haven like at the port, and then you also had the main headquarters, your base that you fought for at the very beginning of both of the betas. And you can go there and read a map, and it scans the map essentially, and it highlights quests that are happening around the city at that time. One of the example would be like a hostage rescue quest, where you kill all the enemies in an area, you have to locate a key to a locked door, and then you free these hostages. I'm hoping that these change daily, like daily bounties in Destiny, so that it could change up what you're going to be doing, and I'm hoping that there's not just 4 or 5 of the same type of missions that just happen to be in different areas of the city. I don't know how many they could add, but just having something that you could do while you're just roaming around would be a really cool experience. Even if you don't just find them on the message board, if they're random events that just happen as you're walking around the city, that would be really cool too. I'm also hoping finally that there are going to be more roaming enemies in the city. We were in the low level instances. We're only level 4 to 8 inside of the PvE environment, but the whole time we're walking around, and there's not a lot outside of the quests and the random enemies holding people down for robbing them, random gangs. There wasn't a lot of gangs roaming around or enemies roaming around, and I don't want to have that feeling of just running around the city without any pushback from the problem of the gangs or the baddies that are trying to take control of New York. I wouldn't feel really in a world that got me out. I'm a sleeper cell agent that pulled me out of that sleeper cell status because New York City needed me. I wouldn't feel that mission if the only time I'm really pushed up against in terms of difficulty or drama of saving the city is in these standard missions and quests that I choose to go to. I want to, and it might be, we were in a low level instance, so as we go into higher levels throughout Midtown, that the higher level you go, the more enemies there are, the more aggressive they are, and the harder they fight against you or try to kill you. So that could totally be the case, and I don't know, but I'm hoping that is the case. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you played the beta. It was open, and there was like 6.4 million players, so I'm sure if you had the opportunity, you probably played. So let me know what you think if you're looking forward to this game and if you're still buying it. I know the closed beta convinced me to upgrade from the standard version of the Division to the Gold Edition, so let me know if that was the case for you too. But thanks for checking this video out, guys. I hope your day is beer and Skittles, and as always, thanks for tuning in.